I think you can find the remaining answers to these questions in the chapter overview notes or even in your text, but I'm going to just summarize them for you here just a little bit as we think about kind of wrapping up chapter 17. So why would we actually use activity-based costing over traditional? Okay, well, here's the reason why. There are more cost pools. Okay, so more cost pools means more work, yes, but it should help us better identify the product cost. That's why we want to use more cost pools, okay? More data should give us better information. That's the idea. Now, I suppose we could find times where that's not the case, okay? One thing we always want to take into consideration in anything that we're doing for accounting is cost versus benefit. So is the thing that we're doing actually giving us benefit, okay? So with more cost pools, we hope that that leads to this number 2, which is better cost control. So you might say, well, how do we control cost? Think about it this way. When you do a budget, you may not know what you're spending until you actually do the budget, okay? So once we've identified these cost pools, it helps us get better control of our costs because we know where we're spending our money. And that ultimately should lead to better management decisions. And that's the key of managerial accounting. And why do we want to make good decisions in our business? We really want to maximize that bottom line. Now, are there some limitations to activity-based costing? Absolutely. So it's expensive. We're no longer tracking one item, we're tracking multiple items, and we even have to just identify what they are that's driving cost. Okay, we need a cost system in place, and those are always more complex. Okay, the more things we keep track of, the more complex it is, whether that's in accounting or life. All right, and then this last one. Some arbitrary costs remain. What does that mean? Well, that just means that if you go back up, and I'll just scroll up really quickly. If you come back up here and you look at this here, actually, let's do this one. Okay, they estimated overhead here. Okay, now what if we had another pool of costs that represented another $20,000 that we just really couldn't tie to anything that we could measure? Okay, that might still happen. This is kind of a perfect world scenario. We've identified all the costs in these 4 different activities. Okay, but the fact of the matter is some arbitrary or additional costs remain that just don't have good drivers. All right, let's wrap up these last 2 things. So can activity-based costing be used in service industries? Yes, of course it can, okay? The thing to keep in mind though, is that more of the overhead cost in a service industry is really a company-wide cost. So you just have to be careful on really identifying activities related to providing the service. Okay. All right, then the last thing. So this can get a little bit confusing, so I don't want you to overthink it, but really we're saying in thinking about the grand scheme of all of our costs, all right, what's the difference between a value-added cost or a non-value-added cost or activity? Because both of these incur cost. If you're thinking for yourself, do you want to pay money for something that has value, or do you want to pay money for something that doesn't have value? Hopefully you said you want to pay for value-added things, not non-value-added things, okay? That's kind of the idea here. But when we're thinking about this, they both have a cost. And so a company wants to try and eliminate these activities, okay? We want to keep the value-added things, but what are they, okay? So let's just talk about those. Value-added, okay? Anything that increases the perceived value of the product in accordance with the customer's viewpoint. Okay. So I like to say, who has to have the most recent iPhone that comes out? Okay. Some of us are really excited about getting the most recent new technology that comes out. Why is that? Well, because Apple has put a lot of engineering, design, and research into coming out with that new product. It's supposed to have more value. Okay. So design and research, those are things that a customer values. But what are these other costs that are really non-value added? Well, if you think about it, what we're really saying is if these activities are eliminated, really the perceived value doesn't change. Having a hard time writing today. Doesn't change or it doesn't decrease, okay? So what types of things are we talking about? Now, this is going to seem a little bit counterintuitive, but I'm going to give you two examples. Inspections in the business and warranty work. Why would a customer consider these things non-value added? Okay, I'm not asking why should a company eliminate these, but why would a customer see these as non-value added? Well, you might be thinking, well, I'm excited about having a warranty that goes along with my product. Or, you know what, I'm glad I got that little sticker on my shirt that said it was inspected. Okay, that means there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, but that costs the company money. The idea is that if they can better improve their process of making the shirt or making the electronic device that you buy at Target and they offer you that 2-year extended warranty, okay, you don't want to ever have to use that stuff, right? So the idea is that if we have a really good process in place that's part of our value, we don't have to have inspections and we shouldn't have to do any warranty work, okay? So these are costs that if a company can eliminate them, that's the fastest way to improving that bottom line, as long as eliminating these items doesn't change the perceived value for the customer. And that's it for chapter 17.